Michigan election shenanigans. It continues. Same thing with Georgia and other states. I am James Hake with Hake News, not fake news, for the Jesse Lee Peterson Show. It's end of hour one of Thursday, November 19th, 2020, the Jesse Lee Peterson Show. Stay tuned for hour two at 6:55 a.m. here in Los Angeles. Michigan election shenanigans. The Epoch Times reports that Wayne County Canvassers Board Republicans rescind their votes certifying the election. This is the second flip-flop, so right on to them for doing the right thing, hopefully in the end. In the second reversal in as many days, the two Republicans on a county elections board in Michigan rescinded their votes that had certified their county's results in the 2020 election. Wayne County Board of Canvassers female chairman Monica Palmer, a Republican whom I had talked about yesterday, and board member William Hartman signed affidavits on Wednesday, yesterday, the 18th, testifying that they voted to certify the election results the day before only because they were promised a full audit of the election to address their concerns. After learning that no audit would occur, they rescinded their votes. Nice. Monica Palmer wrote in an affidavit obtained by Just the News, quote, Vice Chairman Jonathan Kinloch, that's a black Democrat whom I told you about yesterday, gave me assurances that voting for the certification of the November election would result in a full independent audit of Detroit's unbalanced precincts. Later that evening, I was sent statements that Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson, female Democrat, made saying that she did not view our audit resolution to be binding, so she rescinded. Prior to the vote on Tuesday, Hartman, the man, determined that 71% of Wayne County's absent voter county boards were not balanced and without any explanation. Unbalanced precinct counts in which the number of votes tabulated did not match the number of voters signed into the polls. President Trump tweeted explaining, it is far more votes than people. That's a sign of election fraud oftentimes. Hartman also wrote an affidavit obtained by Just the News. Until these questions are addressed, I remain opposed to certification of the Wayne County, Michigan results, which includes Detroit. Hartman listed a number of other concerns about the election, including an unresolved question about private money being used to pay election workers and how these funds were used. Both Hartman and Palmer said that they were berated and accused of racism after they voted against certifying the results. They're white. Palmer said that the abuse went so far as to have threatened me and members of my family, she said. That was a quote. President Donald Trump tweeted yesterday, they were threatened, screamed at, and viciously harassed and were forced to change their votes, but then they refused as American patriots to sign the documents. 71% mess. Don't harass, the president wrote. I had read that to you yesterday. The first time they refused certification, Trump tweeted, wow, having courage is a beautiful thing. The USA stands proud after they refused to certify. Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson, a Democrat, female, had called the discrepancies in Wayne County bookkeeping errors on November 18th and hailed the Republicans' initial flip-flop decision to certify the results after they were holding back as the quote-unquote right thing to do. Ridiculous. And in Georgia, alleged mismanagement of the election by officials in Georgia has led to calls for the Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, a Republican whose office this Sterling guy works for, to resign. Senators Kelly Loeffler, Republican of Georgia, and David Perdue, another Republican, joined the calls this week. Raffensperger, who had delegated press conferences to this Sterling guy while giving interviews to media outlets that opposed Trump, had declined to step down. When people say I'm not a Republican, it's crazy talk, this guy said on CNN. At the end of the day, when people want to create a distinction among the Republican Party during a runoff race, it's not helpful to the person, the candidate, he said. Loeffler and Perdue are in runoff races for the seats that they hold. The runoffs will take place in January of 2021. By the way, the deadline for Georgia to certify their election results is tomorrow, Friday. The audit was ordered by Raffensperger because of the small margin between Biden and Trump. They can still request an audit or a recount. I'm James Hake, now on to Jesse.